All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, and it is 4:30 in the morning, Sunday, in San Diego. And this is the first time I've done video in probably 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 11 days. It's been a while. As you guys know, I'm pretty visible doing video, doing posts, teaching stuff under a life ordeal. It's the only way to put it. Bitten by a spider, caught a severe staph infection, had wounds appearing on my body as staph was desperately trying to escape. Had to get antibiotics, pretty much went into a shutdown while I recovered for about a week. Not a fun time in my life. I'm still kind of scarred up, but doing better. And today's the first day I felt up to making a video or going live. I've been pretty much just keeping to myself for a week in a little cocoon of non-awesomeness. But today I feel awesome. So I was like, okay, the only way to recover is to get back up on the horse that bucked you. And all dumb analogies aside, I'm ready to jump back into business. And today I want to teach something that's super valuable. It's going to help a lot of people. It involves sales, it involves business processes. And like a lot of people in the early days, when you start off in business, you engage in some really goofy sales practices. A lot of people aren't intuitive about how to sell whatever it is that they're selling, whether it's goods or services. And they make rookie mistakes that are terrible, completely terrible. And so today I'm going to show you the 5-step process that I've been using for years that's worked out for me really, really well to create organic sales. I've never, as you guys know, I do PR and visibility services. I've never, ever had to use paid ads, ever. I've always been organic. I've always been referral based. I've always been able to get enough business to where I don't have to have a day job purely on my messaging and my techniques alone, which is great. Shay Sparks is popping in. Glad I'm doing better. Thanks, Shay. I appreciate it. It's been a rough one. You get bit by a spider, and then crazy wounds just appear on your body, leaking fluid everywhere. It's disgusting. At one point, this is horrible, but whatever. At one point, I was leaking yellow fluid out of these wounds. It was insane. My eyelid swelled up to the point where I lost about 40% of my vision in one eye because I had a big, fat, puffy eyelid. It's just messed with my head a lot, which is why I haven't been on video. I just haven't been in a good mind space. And if I'm not able to give 200%, then I just don't want to even try. So that was my rationale. Okay. So veering back, trying to be linear here. Before we started, let's give a shout out to the sponsors. Of course, Mike's Damascus Knives. If you're like me and a bit of a kitchen aficionado and you like cooking, check out Mike's premium hand-forged high-quality knives. You can see the Damascus style patterning, the high-quality blade. Hand-forged by Mike himself at his forge in Utah. Get yours at mikesdamascusknives.com. Unbelievable quality. They come with their own custom sheath. Great product. And I'm very glad to have them as a sponsor. All right. When people come to me and they have problems with sales, or they're like, dude, no matter what I'm doing, my business just isn't growing. I'm not getting the consistent sales I need. It's almost always one of 4 things. It's almost always low audience numbers, an unconnected audience, I call this the Instagram paradox. Low-level branding or bad social media. And by working on these four things, you can increase your sales, increase the performance of your business. Those are usually the diagnostics. So whenever somebody hires me to review all their stuff, those are the first things I look for. So we're going to talk about that before we talk about the 5-step process. The first thing is low audience. If I look at somebody and they've got a Facebook and they have 200 friends, that's a problem in itself, because you got to figure that maybe 2% of people are going to be able to see your stuff, whatever you're posting. And most people aren't intuitive enough to use hashtags or to tag people. So they're going to get even less engagement on their stuff. But if your Facebook friends list on your personal page is less than 1,000, you need to start adding people immediately. And some people will say, well, I use my personal page for just friends and family. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. A lot. Okay. Get over that mindset. Your friends and family can contact you through your phone. Use a personal page for business. Absolutely. Your personal page and your business page have different superpowers. You need to optimize both of them for business. So like I said, if somebody has a very low friend count, that's a huge red flag right there in itself. I have 4,900 people now. I'm almost at the limit for Facebook. And it's very useful for my engagement because a lot of people see my stuff. So the second factor is an unconnected audience. And I call this the Instagram paradox, where Instagram influencers might have a lot of followers on the surface, but most of them are bots. And you can tell this from low engagement numbers. You can tell this from low sales, not a lot of traction. You know, people are on Instagram desperately just putting out tons and tons and tons of posts. Nobody cares because the engagement sucks or the content sucks or whatever. But an unconnected audience doesn't buy, period, dot. You can put out the greatest thing in the world, whether it's services or goods. But if your audience isn't connected and doesn't feel rapport and connection to you, your business is going to suffer. The third diagnostic for bad sales is low-level branding. And this is either a poorly crafted website. It looks like a GeoCities experiment from 1991. A cheap logo, or bad social media. Like really bad looking, like not very much thought put out into it. And so branding hurts perception of who you are and the effectiveness of whatever it is that you're putting out there. Branding is a lot more important than people think, and it's not an intuitive thing. When I first started off, I thought that branding was just, oh, I've got a website and a logo. I've got a brand. Awesome. No, a brand is the culture of your business. It's your ideals. It's the personality. It's what it stands for. If you think about the great brands in history, like Microsoft or Nike or McDonald's, you know what they're about. You know what kind of people supports them. You know what kind of social causes they're into. You know how they feel about stuff. That's how you grow a brand, is what the brand stands for and what it puts out there. The brand is actually autonomous of the person in many cases. So just something to think about. And then the final thing for low sales, low engagement is bad social media. I troubleshoot this every day, and I can look at someone's Facebook feed and I can tell right away if they know what they're doing on social media or not. And if the last 20 posts that they've done are either selfies, or forwards and shares of like news stories, clickbait, rage bait, things that piss them off, politics, stuff like that, I know that they're not creating good social media. They're just rage farming. Bad social media fosters bad sales. And I always tell people politics don't sell. Sharing news stories about hot button issues that piss people off doesn't sell. Complaining doesn't sell unless it's funny. Actually, complaining never sells. It's just emotional observation. So anyway, if I see this stuff in the last 20 posts, if I never see you talking about your services or positioning yourself or your products or, anything related to the value you're putting out there for your audience, I can tell right away that your social media is actually keeping you from sales. There are people out there that I literally want to choke out because all they do in their social media is just share pop culture stuff, or they're sharing stuff that they found on TikTok, or they're just giving people a reason not to buy from them. And if they listen, they'll make the adjustment and their sales will go up. If they don't listen, they're going to be stuck exactly where they are. So anyway, those are the 4 biggest diagnostics I see, biggest problem indicators for low sales and low engagement for whatever it is that your brand is selling. Low audience numbers, unconnected audience, low-level branding, bad social media. Those 4 are the 4 horsemen of low sales. All right. So now let's jump into the 5-step process I've been using for years that have helped me with my own sales, my own engagement. And it's this. I'll read this to you. Attract, connect, create value times 2, qualify, sell. Okay. And each of these steps has its own actions to successfully implement. So attract means grow your audience. Get more people on your Facebook or on your LinkedIn or on your Instagram, send out requests, blah, blah, blah. Connect means you actually talk to people. You wish them happy birthday. You know what's going on in their life. You pay attention to certain things. You create a friendship. You reach out for a call, whatever. Connecting's probably the most important step in this chain. Create value times 2. It means that you're either sharing an ebook, you're, teaching, you're sharing a checklist, you're creating content, you're teaching someone how to do something. Creating value means promoting. You're doing something that's favorable for another person without being asked to do it. So you create value times 2, you make sure the person sees it, and then over time, you'll qualify them, and then you sell them. Qualifying means that you've onboarded them. It means that all the factors come together. Okay. Qualify means that you're not just out there like these idiots on LinkedIn that are just cold pitching in the inbox immediately upon connection, which is the worst sales technique ever. I don't care what that idiot Grant Cardone tells you. Cold calling is terrible. Cold pitching in people's inboxes will get you a less than 1% success rate, and it'll make people hate you and block you. That's just it. Qualifying means that the person's pain point matches your zone of genius, matches your expectation of fees, matches their budget. When you have those 4 things, you have a sale. Okay. So that's the difference between an expert and a guru, by the way. Gurus will sell to anybody. Experts do onboarding and qualification. I can't just work with anybody for what I do. And I have to qualify people. I have to make sure that their business is in a certain place. I have to make sure that they don't have any weird personality quirks. I have to make sure that they'll listen to what I tell them to do. And I'm proud of the fact there's an application process to work with me. And that is a sign of a boutique service. So anyway, attract, connect, create value times 2, qualify, sell. That's the 5-step process that I've used for sales for years now. That's helped me out quite a bit in my business. All right. This sequence takes a little longer than a regular sales sequence that most people do, but it gets you better leads. It gets you better growth, and it connects you with people on a much deeper level, which means that they'll work with you longer if they like your stuff. All right. So that's about the summary of everything. So just remember, guys, if your sales are bad, first of all, do diagnostics, find out what's going on in your own sales process. And it's almost always those 4 things we talked about earlier: low audience, unconnected audience, low level branding, or bad social media. And then using this 5-step process times 2, qualify, sell. You're going to do a lot better at your sales. You're going to connect to people better. Overall, the performance metrics are a lot more successful if you use this process. And what's going on, Stephanie? Good to see you. So anyway, in summary, sales are tricky, and especially if you're doing it yourself. Don't just try to sell to everybody. Sell to the right people. And sales are not intuitive. They're not something we wake up in the morning and just know how to do. Sales are about solving a problem that someone is dealing with. And if you focus on the solution, not the sale, you'll do a lot better at it. I got to say, the greatest salesperson I ever met was Chris Stock. He's still around somewhere. He was this former IBM salesman. He had a company called Nail That Sale. I knew him years and years ago when I first started in entrepreneurship. But Chris was one of the best sales guys I've ever met in my life. Not just because he was trained by IBM, but his methodologies, his techniques, his process was impeccable. If he's still around, I haven't talked to him in years, but if he's still around, definitely look up his stuff. I would highly recommend him. Connection is super important when going through the sales process, because the worst people in business are the ones that just talk at their audience. They just focus on the sale. They don't care about the actual impact of the sale. Connection is when you and another person start talking. They've got this problem. They can't fix it. You can fix it with whatever it is that you're selling, and you make their life better. That, in essence, is the greatest merging that takes place during a sale. All right. That's all I got for today. Thanks so much, guys. This is my first live broadcast in 10 or 11 days. As you guys know, got bit by a spider, got a severe staph infection. I've just been in a very, very dark and isolated place while I'm recovering. I haven't had the mindset to do anything for a week, but I'm feeling a lot better. Gonna go to the gym today. Been up since about 3:30 a.m. and just jumped back into business. But I just wanted to share some observations about improving sales, because you got to get back on the horse if you get bucked off. All right. That's all I got for today. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And if you have any questions about sales or the process of attracting people to work with you, feel free to message me. And final tip, if you guys need help growing your audience or creating better social media, check out the Tactical CEQ Business Visibility Guide. I just released it. It's got fillable worksheets, 2 different versions. It teaches complete social media planning and has a lot of resources inside, over 50 pages of my best content. There is a physical printed version and there is a digital version. So if you need help with your social media process or your sales, or just getting more, getting a bigger audience, a connected audience, check this book out. It can definitely help you in your processes. Message me if you want details for it. The digital version is only $47. It's a great asset for any business owner. All right. Thanks so much for checking this out, guys. Great to see you. And as always, stay famous. See you next time.